Yo, what's going on, guys? And today we're going to be talking about a report that the most likely scenario is one of Dejounte Murray or Trae Young is being traded this offseason as the Atlanta Hawks roster moves in flux. I don't know why I said it like that, but let's get right into it. Mark Stein of the Stein Line put out a report today that reads like this. The most likely scenario, according to one league source, continues to be that Atlanta trades one of its two-star guards before next season. Meaning, Trae Young or Dejounte Murray likely to be traded by the Hawks this offseason. I personally think, you can't... I've been in the belief that I think Trae Young's passing ability and scoring ability is something that you can't find, okay? It is so hard to find that scoring and passing ability that Trae Young has. And he's basically the closest thing we have had to Steph Curry since Steph Curry, okay? So for me, I personally believe by trading him, you're giving up on something that you haven't fully seen through. As the 1 year that you had the properly built roster, I know it was because of good fortunes, they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. But what's the blueprint? The blueprint is you put a small guard, even though Steph Curry isn't small, but Trae Young is small, next to a big shooting guard and wing. Who was their big shooting guard? Kevin Huerter at 6'7". Oh, and Cam Reddish was supposed to be, the successor, the complementer there. And then you also had DeAndre Hunter. You had Danilo Gallinari. Right there was 6'7", 6'10", basically. And then you had Clint Capella. And then you also had Bogdan. You need size next to Trae Young. You need defense and size. If they were able to go out and get somebody like a Jaden McDaniels, like an OG Anunoby, those guys are the guys that they need to put next. They should have drafted a guy like Grady Dick. They should have drafted a guy. They should go out and try to get out Herb Jones. Those are the players that they need to start surrounding Trae Young with if they want this to work. That's why everyone's saying that the Spurs are salivating at the fact that they could get Trae Young, because Trae Young with Victor Wembanyama works out perfect, because they can just tell Trae, don't worry, Vic got you. There is a blueprint to make it work with Vic. And this is who will give you more return? Trading Trae Young or trading Dejounte Murray? Trae Young's going to give you more assets. Is Dejounte Murray a top 10 point guard in the NBA? Yes, he is. But he's closer to the 10 than he is to 5. And that's where it gets tricky, because you don't know what the right, I think, I'm a fan of Dejounte. I like what he is. He's a very all-around guy. And I think it's definitely intriguing when we look at this situation, because for me, if I were the Hawks, I would trade I would trade DeAndre Hunter for in a package with Dejounte Murray. I would use Dejounte Murray to get a bigger fish. Okay, and what do I mean by that? Let's say you want to trade Clint Capella for cap space, and you want to trade him for, let's go, I'd say, my thought process is you want to go ahead and give yourself cap space with Clint Capella, get yourself a draft pick, and then use maybe DeAndre Hunter and Dejounte Murray in that draft pick you get to go out and get yourself someone really good. Maybe you can get yourself, I don't think you could land, obviously, Donovan Mitchell or any of those guys. I don't think that's possible. But what I do think is possible is getting a Jared Allen and then churning around and seeing if, and this is where it gets tricky, because you're trying to think, I think they need, Jared Allen would be great, and I know you want to look around I mean, another guy that they could also think about is Karl-Anthony Towns going after, but that doesn't fix their defense. And if they went after Karl-Anthony Towns, that's because they're trading Trae Young. Okay, you would trade Trae Young and go after Towns because then Dejounte Murray and Towns would work. But you want Trae Young, you want to find your Rudy Gobert. I think at this point, Jared Allen, and I know people are going to say Clint Capella and Jared Allen are very similar, but Jared Allen's like a significantly better defender. My thought is if you want to go cheaper, I don't think OG staying in New York, I don't think you can get Paul George. So for me, I look at the potential moves that are out there. It is not as big or as easy of a thought process as one would think, because when I look at this current situation, I think the Defensive Player of the Year award, if you look at it, and again, I don't think Draymond Green going after Klay Thompson would be great if we're thinking about it, if you keep Trae Young, because I'm trying to think on the fly who could be that guy that they trade for. And I think they want to go, if they're going to do a package, Dejounte Murray for a big fish, I think they need to go for a defensive two-way-esque guy. And a lot of those guys are sadly a bit older than you would want them to be. And for me, I think I look at Defensive Player of the Year. We know it's Rudy Gobert this year, but I'm curious, is Jaden McDaniel, and I keep looking at the Timberwolves because they have such a good squad. Maybe somebody on the Thunder like Lou Dort could be, but that's like not, you wouldn't give up. Maybe you wouldn't give up any of the guys that I've previously mentioned for that. And the rest of them, Bam Adebayo, Anthony Davis, who are also on the running, they're too impactful and too good of guys that I don't think they could afford them. So I think the biggest thing here is just trying to figure out how we would be able to upgrade, because the whole thing is you need to upgrade the Hawks with shooting and defense. That's the two things that need to be addressed if you were going to keep Trae Young. Shooting and defense and rebounding. And then you'd be able to go ahead and find yourself the ability to actually have a winning squad with Trae Young. And I think that's the biggest thing. You just need rebounding, defense, and keep the shooting. Because the thing is, a lot of times when you do get rebounding and defense, you use the shooting. While with Dejounte Murray, one might say it's an easier plan to construct because, like I said, you could flip Trae Young and then use whatever assets for Trae Young you get to get a guy like Karl-Anthony Towns, which a lot of people would say, wow, that's a quick turnaround, and you might be able to get Karl-Anthony Towns for a lot cheaper than one would naturally assume. So I think that's the biggest thing you're looking at if you're a Hawks fan. How do we capitalize on Trae Young's going to give you more assets and potentially the ability to turn around a team a lot quicker, while Dejounte Murray, trading him would allow you to see through building the Trae Young team in the right way, which is having a big shooting and rebounding defensive team surrounding Trae. But will they figure that one out? That's the $1 million question.